You're not seeing the world clearly. You think you are. You think you're reading energy, calling it like you're seeing it, being realistic. But you're not seeing reality. You're seeing your own distortion wearing a disguise. And until you realize that, your reality stays exactly the same. So, this is chapter 2 of the Lucid Dreamer, the eye that shapes the dream. And it's about one thing: how the lens you're looking through doesn't just interpret reality, it creates it. Literally. Right? The lens you see the world through determines what world is actually available to you. Change the lens, the entire reality reorganizes. So let me read a section from chapter 2. Let me tell you something real. I haven't always seen life clearly. I thought I had. I thought I was being intuitive, calling it like I see it, just reading the energy. But if I'm honest, I was reading my own distortion. Fear wears disguises, and mine looked like wisdom. It wore the mask of realism, of street smarts, of knowing better. But it wasn't any of those things. It was fear, clever, quiet fear, masquerading as truth. And that's the thing most people don't realize. Your perception isn't neutral, it's filtered. So, what is a lens? It's not just how you interpret reality, it's what you're capable of seeing in the first place. Think of it like this: you walk into a room, same people, same situation. But person A is looking through the lens of people always disappoint me. So they notice every micro expression that can be read as dismissal. Right? They interpret silence as rejection. They see evidence everywhere that they're right. And then person B walks into the very same room looking through the lens of I'm safe here. People care about me. And they notice the same micro expressions, but they read them as thoughtfulness. They interpret silence as listening. They see evidence everywhere that they're cared for. Same room, same people, completely different realities. Why? Well, because the lens determines what you see. And what you see determines how you react. And how you react determines what actually happens next. So you're not just seeing the world differently, you're literally living in a different world based on the lens you're looking through. So the chapter calls this the lens of belief. And beliefs are formed early, usually before you even had language to question them. Right? And they come in through tone of voice, through silence, through the spaces where love should have been but wasn't. And once they're formed, they become invisible. Right? You think they're reality, not your beliefs. So here's some of the common ones. I'm too much, or I don't matter. It's safer to stay small. Well, people will leave anyway. And here's the insidious part. These beliefs don't just make you think differently. They literally change what your nervous system perceives as safe or as dangerous. So if your lens says, I'm not enough, your nervous system scans the entire world for evidence of your inadequacy. And it'll find it everywhere. Not because the evidence is real, but because your lens is selecting for it. That's what you're focused on. Right? Your lens is deciding what you get to see. Now here's where it gets really interesting. The chapter talks about something called from victim to visionary. And it's this: most people are trapped in the victim lens. Right? Why is this happening to me? But the moment you shift the lens, the question changes to what if this is happening through me? And that changes everything, because suddenly you're not powerless. You're not a victim of circumstances. Now you're the one who's been looking through a distorted lens the whole time. And that lens is something that you can actually change. And you can't always change what happens to you, but you can absolutely change the lens you're looking through when it happens. And when you change the lens, the entire meaning of the event starts to shift. Right? The power you have in it shifts. The future it leads to shifts. From victim to visionary. It's not about positive thinking. It's about recognizing. Right? I've been looking through a contracted lens, and I can choose a different one. The chapter brings in quantum mechanics here, and it's the observer effect. And it's wild because it's actual physics. In quantum experiments, the act of observing a particle changes its behavior. The observer literally changes the outcome just by watching. And spiritually, it's the same. Right? The moment you observe your reaction with presence instead of judgment, you change the pattern's trajectory. You interrupt the cycle. You become the observer, not the automation. Right? Think about what we just talked about. Your lens automatically selects what you see. Your reaction automatically creates the outcome. It's automatic. It's a closed loop. But the moment you observe that loop, the moment you notice what your lens is doing, what your nervous system is reacting to, what you're automatically creating, something starts to shift. You step out of being run by the pattern and you become someone who's watching the pattern. And from that space of observation, you now have choice. You can see the lens, you can question it, you can choose a different one. That's the observer effect in action, right? Your observation literally changes the reality. And here's the final piece. Vision is a muscle, not a gift, right? You weren't born with a distorted lens. You weren't born out of alignment. You were born seeing clearly, unfiltered and whole. But over time, the world taught you to squint, to second guess what you saw, to dim your own perception so others could feel safe. And when that happens, vision doesn't disappear, it just gets buried, it atrophies. And we call it a gift when someone can see clearly, like it's rare, like it's something only special people have. But it's not, it's a muscle. And like any muscle, it strengthens through use and weakens through disuse. So, how do you train it? Well, start by practicing just noticing when the lens tightens, when the breath shortens, when your story speeds up. You pause before the old pattern takes the wheel and just ask, what am I actually seeing here? Or am I seeing through a contracted lens? And then you breathe into the tension. You speak gentler words to yourself, even if they feel foreign at first. You listen more to what your body whispers than what your fear shouts. Right? Every time you pause instead of react, every time you choose presence over panic, every time you question the lens instead of accepting it as truth, you're rewiring the muscle, sharpening your spiritual perception, reclaiming your ability to witness clearly. Right? This isn't mysticism, it's mechanics. It's spiritual, it's emotional, and it's neurological. It's the embodied intelligence of a soul returning to center. So here's what I want you to understand. The world you're experiencing right now, the one that feels so real, so justified, so obviously true, that world is shaped by the lens. Right? Not by what's actually happening, by what the lens makes available for you to see. And the good news to all this is you can change the lens. You don't do this by trying harder. You can't you're not forcing positivity or by pretending your circumstances are different, right? But you need to recognize this lens is mine. I put it on and I can take it off. That's the eye that shapes the dream. It's not mystical, it's you. It's your perception. It's the lens you're looking through. And the moment you realize you're the one who decides which lens to wear, everything becomes possible. And that's what the rest of the Lucid Dreamer walks you through. How to see the lens, how to clean it, how to strengthen your vision until clarity becomes your natural state. Not someday, not when you're healed enough or enlightened enough, but right now, in this moment, with the lens you choose. Because you're not dreaming anymore, you're designing awake.